Cursed by the gold gods in Bethany, we are 4 souls destined to review the 1001 movies,
albums, booze,
songs,
and TV shows you must consume before you die. Until then, we are the Immortals.
And this is episode 148.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful, round, spherical number.
4 plus 8.
Is it a spherical number? Is that a real thing?
No, that's something I just made up.
I mean, it
That
probably
makes sense.
is.
I mean, I'm sure. Yeah, that seems right.
If we look at the number 148 as having like a fourth dimension, then I think that the circles and the 8 will probably be spheres.
That makes sense to me.
Thank you.
Does it make sense to you?
Yep.
Okay. I borrowed Pedro's copy of Flatland recently.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a weird book.
Weird book.
It is a little bit weird.
Weird book.
Interesting. I've only gotten about halfway through. It's 70 pages.
That's crazy that you're halfway through. Been that way for
It's
a long
really
time.
Short.
Lent it to me.
Yep.
Give it back to you.
It's still in my work bag.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm Austin.
I'm Sarah.
Oh, I'm JC.
I was expecting a leave.
Such a long pause.
I am really used to.
I'm Pedro.
I do always feel like after I say my name, I'm going to hear, I'm Lee.
I just got him out of my
Yeah.
brain.
That was almost 50 episodes ago.
I
Yep.
know.
We're smart.
Indeed.
Yeah. And we're the Immortals, you know.
Yeah.
Podcast review 1001 movies, albums, songs, and TV shows must consume before you die. This week we are reviewing the 618th entries in all of those published lists. And they're the following things.
We watched The American Friend.
The album? We
Sorry,
definitely did. That was great.
No, it's not. We have some notes on your German accent.
Well, I don't know. Was
Yeah,
it French? There was some French
I
in
think
there.
it
There
was
was some
French.
German in there.
I'm going to go with the French.
I tried to make it German, but it really came out French. I'm so sorry.
It's all right because there's a bunch of French in it. But anywho,
The album is Green by R.E.M.
the song is "I Feel for You" by Chaka Khan.
And the TV show is Footballers' Wives. We're getting all that. Just want to...
I can't believe that something called Footballers' Wives is considered one of the 1001 shows you have to watch before you die.
Spoilers.
I don't know who the
Maybe it
fuck
should've.
made these, but they
So
should have
ridiculous.
some conversations with others.
I'm so worried that, like, they saw we were doing this. They were coming like, let's see someone really appreciate all the years put in these books, and then we just shit on them all the time.
I will say, okay, I've been on this podcast for like 2 minutes,
Mhm.
but it does feel like pretty much we hit a good show like every 4 or 5 shows.
Oh, yeah,
where
it feels
I
like that, doesn't it?
It's like every other movie, like roughly, is
Yeah.
like, I'm like, oh, that should be on there, where the TV, it's just not as much.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it really feels that way. So, last week we got Prime Suspect. This week we got Footballers' Wives. That's how the world balances
Oh my god,
out.
my mom sent me the cutest text because she texted me a picture of her cup of coffee. She works as a teacher's aide at North Central now,
Oh.
and she was like, here's the cup of coffee I had to get on break because I stayed up too late watching the first season of Prime Suspect, and it's your fault. And I was
Aw.
like, yes.
Nice.
That's great.
Hashtag our influence.
Hashtag our influence.
It's working.
Such a good show.
I think
Yeah.
you're talking about our show for a sec.
No, God.
I was like,
I would never.
I was like, wow, I'm really
I would
feeling
never.
my feathers are fluttering.
Yeah, Prime Suspects knows what's going on.
Yeah. Good show.
You guys watching anything good? Listen to anything good?
I watched the Chicago election, where there is now a runoff in the third largest city in the country. A runoff election between 2 African-American women, one of who is queer. So, yay, Chicago,
Ooh.
and the world is beautiful, and it makes me happy.
Ooh, we watched quite a few things, I feel like.
Yeah.
Caught up on The Crown.
Cool.
Cool.
Indeed.
You passed me. I'm not.
Did you
finished
finish
season
it? Did you finish the second season?
Yep, season 2. That's the one on Netflix,
two.
right? So,
Mhm.
actually, they're all on Netflix, aren't they?
Mhm.
Okay, cool.
Netflix
Yep.
show.
Yep.
It's a Netflix show.
Still great.
Cool.
Philip is interesting. I've got his Wikipedia page open on my phone still.
I watched A Star Is Born.
Oh, really?
Ooh, there you
I
go.
assume the new one.
Oh shit! I've been
Yeah.
off for 2 weeks. Yeah, I've seen like a dozen films for the
Right,
Oscars.
For the Oscars.
I saw all of them. I did it. For the first year I
Oh,
watched every
no.
nominee.
And of
Really,
course-
the first time ever?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
Of course, by the time this is airing, the Academy will have issued a retraction saying that Green Book, in fact, did not win Best Picture.
Yeah, I assume so. They've walked back everything else. So
so I assume that's what's already happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I did not watch the Oscars this year. Okay, so my roommate and I were eating Chinese food, and she was like, "Do you want to watch the Oscars?" And I said, "Yeah." And she turned it on her phone, and I watched the sound editing and sound mixing awards. And then we were like, we can turn this off now. That's what we did.
I hated those awards.
Me
Those
too.
two specifically.
No, yeah, because
Should have gone to First Man.
First Man or Roma.
Or Roma.
Yeah, no, those were incredible achievements of sound.
And said,
Not Bohemian Rhapsody, where you just
just
edit
the
in the
singing
Queen
song.
song.
Yeah, right.
I did enjoy our friend Andrew, shout out to Andrew's, argument that Bohemian Rhapsody should win film editing on the logic that there was probably so much shit that was filmed for the movie that the editor had to
Fair.
cut it down to something that was even coherent.
Yeah, but also,
Fair.
no. What do you mean fair? No.
I don't know. It
No,
seemed like a lot
Can
of
we
shit.
talk about
I
the
believe
most
Andrew was
important
being
part of the Oscars?
heavily sarcastic. Yes, we can.
What do you say, JC?
I was going to say, can we talk about the most important part of the Oscars?
Yeah, we can.
Yep.
So wait, what was the most important part of the Oscars, JC?
The eye smash between Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper.
It was something.
It was. And honestly, so I just saw the movie, and the movie is just okay. There are a lot of really good parts of the movie,
Oh, I love
and
that
their
movie.
performances are really great, but I don't think it's just an okay movie. That performance was the best take I have read about it. There have been some very good takes, but somebody on my Facebook made me feel self-conscious. She was my old choir director. She was like, anybody who thinks that Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper are fucking from that performance has never seen like a really good staged opera. And I was like, oh, you're right. They're just really good actors.
They're just really good actors. Like, I mean, like, they also fuck in the movie. Like, I mean, like, and it's
Very
also
true.
believable there. But I will say, I love that this has meant that if you type in Bradley Cooper to Google, the first auto-completion now is wife.
Wow.
Which cracks me the hell up. It's like a whole nation was just concerned for that man's wife all together in a moment.
Roxanne Gay like tweeted something really funny where she was like, I don't care who you are. There's nothing about that wouldn't make me light that person up the second I got home.
Yeah.
I was like, what were you doing?
I
Just really enjoyed that.
It was like one of those kind of performances where, like, obviously it's going to win Best Song, but I feel like everyone in the audience was like, I think we should have voted for Star is Born more.
Yeah, well, they gave a double standing ovation.
Yeah, like, why did we do something to Bohemian Rhapsody? This is like an actually good musical.
Yeah, like, I mean, I've seen them do a
Literally.
couple live performances. I mean, they did. There's the one.
The one at the Gaga
Lady
concert.
concert. There's the one for the movie. There's the music video version, which is actually different than the whatever. Anyway, this one is. There's the one at the Grammys that no one liked. This
I missed that one.
Or the Golden Globes, the Grammys. But
Didn't it not get nominated in the musical category at the Golden Globes?
I think you're correct, which is weird.
Yeah.
But no, this one was a very different. This was a very different performance, very different energy. It was a thing that happened. I liked it a lot.
I did too. How many times have I watched that video again? You don't need to know.
I also watched that video a lot of times today. Like,
JC,
a lot
the
of
audience
times.
demands to know. JC, give us a number.
You don't
JC,
Need
we're going to subpoena this.
to know.
Well, you have to. Here's the thing: you have to line it up with how often I listen to the song "Shallow," and it's just
Often.
that now every time I'm going to listen to the song "Shallow," I'm also going to watch Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga "I Fuck" because why wouldn't I?
This is taking like
The only like major criticism I have, it's not even major, is that Bradley Cooper is not a good enough singer to just get on stage and sing. Like, he needed to warm up a little bit. He
his
needed
credit-
to.
Yeah,
he was like.
did.
He was
Um,
like.
my thing is
Oh,
that-
I like that it was real though. Like,
So yeah, because I think that of the best songs, maybe Jennifer Hudson, right, who did the RBG song, she might have been singing live, but I mean, like, everybody else, lip synced their own track, which is fine. That's like how you do an award show,
Yeah.
because it's basically impossible to get mic levels right on a live feed, and both Cooper and Gaga. You can even hear it when Gaga starts. Like, you can be the best singer in the fucking world, and you can't do it. But yeah, Bradley Cooper really can't do it. But it was at least nice to be like, aw, you're actually singing. I also love about Bradley Cooper, though, that every time he is on stage with Lady Gaga, he is, like, so deeply aware that he's not as good a singer as she is, and is just, like, completely in awe, like, in a platonic way, one assumes, of being on stage with, like, one of the greatest performers of her generation, and just, like, it's just like, I'm just the dude. Like, I'm just here to be the dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is. He's just a dude.
He's just a dude. He's a hot dude, but he's just a dude.
Yeah, you know who else is really good in that movie? Sam Elliott.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
I have really liked Sam Elliott since Tombstone.
Good choice.
He has beautiful eyebrows.
He has.
It's just the old guy.
He's just magnificent. Just like, he is wonderful. He's really good in that movie.
He is.
I will say the first 45 minutes of that movie is perfect. I don't know what happens for the rest of the time. Maybe I black out. Maybe.
Fair. I mostly just want to watch, like, the actual scene in the movie where they first sing Shallow on stage, which, like,
That was a good
makes
one.
my heart, like,
It's very good.
burst and explode in wonder and beauty.
No, you can, like, the whole movie stop there, then have Sam Elliott drive out of the driveway crying.
Oh, that scene is so good.
That's amazing.
That.
I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like,
Yeah.
that's what happened. And
So
then I went
good.
back to blacking out.
It's like those, and then also, like, maybe, like, the last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But you can do that in the movie.
And I think, yeah, because then, but if you just stop at Shallow, you've already gotten, maybe it's time to make the old ways die.
Yeah.
And La Vie en Rose.
Yeah.
Of her performing, which is like,
I mean,
amazing.
you're going to miss then the actor who's in 2 Best Picture nominees that year, Alec Baldwin,
Oh my
with his
God.
classic line, "Ladies and gentlemen, Allie." He's hosting,
right.
he's hosting SNL.
He was.
There, okay,
they
the
thought about
only
him for
part in the
dad.
first half of the movie that's really stupid is when Allie says that she writes her songs on a typewriter.
That is so
I was
stupid.
like, no.
I agree. People
No.
who still use typewriters are stupid, and they should stop.
I usually write my songs on a typewriter. I was like, the only way I can interpret this is you're lying. The
No,
Bradley
it's-
Cooper's character.
It's really true. Like, it's like, I mean, look, my mother wrote a book, and, like, she used an early word processor as soon as it was available, because you know what sucks? She wrote a book in, like, the late 80s and early 90s. Because you know what sucks? Typewriters. Like, typewriters are the worst. If you make a mistake, you have to go back with whiteout and, like, then go over it again. And then, if you're actually doing a manuscript, you have to start over or pay a ton of money for someone to do it.
You know, this is like half the plot of Can You Forgive Me?
I have not seen it.
I want to see that movie so
I-
bad.
It's a good one.
So
I gotta watch
good.
it.
So good.
My mother wrote her first book on the first version of Microsoft Word. She you could only save 8 pages at a time, so she wrote
Wow.
her hundreds of pages of book in 8-page segments, which is
That is
awesome.
impressive.
But, like, early in my life, she definitely was like, Sarah, you need to understand how great word processing is and how terrible, like, and how much it is different than typewriters. Like, I need you to understand.
Yeah, the past is stupid.
Yeah.
My mom,
Maybe
yeah,
it's time to let the
maybe it's
old
time to
ways
let
die.
typewriters
None of
die.
these mics are ready for
Maybe
it.
it's time to let typewriters
I just kind of
die.
imagine that
It's
Stephen
really
King
hard to
still
hit that
uses
low
one,
note.
but
I mean, I can practice some more.
Why would he?
What do you say, Pedro?
I like to imagine in my head that Stephen King still uses a typewriter just because.
No, but
And he uses
everything
two
he
fingers.
does is dumb.
Yeah, but there's no
Haven't
reason. Yeah,
haven't you
why would
seen
he?
The scene in Love Actually, where
Wait.
Colin Firth has a typewriter and it's his only copy of his manuscript, and then it blows away. Like, computers are better.
Wait, Pedro, are you just imagining Misery?
Maybe.
Yeah. I think you're
Oh, is that movie on the list? I fucking
I
love
hope
that
so.
movie.
It's not.
It's not.
No.
Ooh, I might
What?
Have, I might
It's an
have,
incredible
I might have
movie.
Made Misery a bonus pick.
I mean,
I'm upset. I'd like to
sorry.
officially announce that I'm upset.
I'm
the
also
first time this
upset, Casey.
episode.
There are like other Stephen King. I think there's a different Rob Reiner Stephen King movie on there.
Which one?
Stand by Me.
Misery's a lot better than Stand By Me.
I've
Okay.
never seen Stand By Me, and I don't care
Lame. It's
to.
about kids who find a body.
Oh,
who
yeah,
gives
I
a
was never
shit?
a
We've
huge
all
fan
watched
of Stand By Me.
Stranger Things.
We've all found bodies.
Yeah, that one never hit
Part
home.
of childhood, and then
You love it.
never talk
What?
about it
You
again,
love
and you just
Stand By Me, don't you?
No, I
repress it
don't.
with your
Oh,
friends,
who
and
loves
that's
it?
how
Someone loves it.
you
She
remain.
loves it.
I think if I remember correctly, I'm not gonna look it up right now, but like I think The Princess Bride and Stand By Me are the two, and This Is Spinal Tap. Those 3 Rob Reiner films on this list.
Getting in and out.
Those are, I mean, 2 of those.
Wait, you're
Stand
back.
By Me is a good film. It's just that Misery is also a good film.
And then you added A Few Good Men as a bonus review.
Because
So,
A Few Good Men is a perfect movie, and I don't understand why it wasn't on the list to begin with, and it's ridiculous.
best part of the Oscars for me was Olivia Colman winning, because that was
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, that was
Because
the
she went,
best.
because she did a raspberry in the middle of her speech because she didn't know what to say. She was just, it also, in an Oscars that was going to end with, probably the least deserved Oscar Best Picture in, let's see.
Since Crash, right?
12 years, because Crash is 2006.
Birdman's pretty bad too.
But
it's not as bad.
You think Birdman is bad, but Birdman has genuine differences of opinion. Birdman is polarizing.
Yeah.
Green Book is bad. Crash is
Green Book is
bad.
terrible.
And they're
Yeah.
bad in very similar ways. But we can have a whole side podcast of Sarah bitches about Green Book for a while if we want to.
I did not see it, and I never will. And honestly, we announced this on the podcast several weeks ago, but I'd just like to reiterate that Viggo Mortensen is officially canceled.
Yeah,
We
he's
will not
canceled.
speak his name again on this mortal plane. He is dead to us.
We'll just call him
7th grade
Aragorn.
me is fucking upset about this, and I appreciate your condolences during this time.
Remember though, Aragorn is not dead. Just
King of
Viggo
Gondor.
Mortensen. King of Gondor's fine.
Viggo is dead to us.
On the other hand, it's not clear that Viggo Mortensen actually appears in Green Book because it might just be a walking piece of pizza. It might just be a walking piece of pizza.
This is by the way 100% real. The guy who wrote Green Book, he announced his next movie.
This is really funny.
It's a musical comedy called That's Amore, where he meets a woman named Amore.
Is this real?
Yeah.
Yes, it's real.
It seems like an Onion response.
I checked whether it was the Onion 3 times.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Maybe it's time to let that dude die.
Jeez, that song
Maybe
got
it's time to let
threatening.
them all die.
Hey, I'm sure he's a very nice guy who just happened to publicly say that he believed Muslims cheered during 9/11. Anywho, now it's time to start the podcast.
Yeah, we can start the podcast now.
What do we watch this week?
I think we did that already.
What movie are we gonna watch? We already watched this week.
Austin's
So
doing great.
tired.
It's okay, buddy. We watched The American Friend. Is that better?
No,
I don't know.
I'm proud to talk about The American Friend today.
Mm-hmm.
This is a 1977 film by, is it Wim?
Vim.
It's Wim Wenders.
Wim Wenders.
That was bad.
Which is,
Or not bad.
thank you. Wim Wenders. It's adapted from a novel by Patricia Highsmith, which is super hella cool.
Mm-hmm.
It is about the recurring character in the general neo-noir canon, Tom Ripley, who is a bruh in Germany, making his way. So, Wim Wenders, we have Tom Ripley, who is a career criminal, as Wikipedia says, which is probably the best way to say it other than a bruh in Germany making his way, who tricks a picture framer named Jonathan into becoming an assassin because this picture framer is terminally ill, and so he pulls a bunch of little puppet-like strings to make him think that he is much more ill than he is, and so he wants to make money because he's dying. And so they sort of set off on this journey where you see how their lives intersect, and Jonathan, this picture framer who breaks bad and becomes an assassin, not a very good one, spoilers, just not great at it. So I'd like to start this conversation by saying that I have seen Dennis Hopper and Bruno Ganz in 2 movies. I have seen Dennis Hopper once in Speed and Bruno Ganz once as Hitler. And that was my introduction to this movie.
That works.
So,
We've seen him twice now?
we've seen Dennis Hopper in Apocalypse Now,
Yes.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
and that's it. What else?
Is that it? Yeah, I guess that might be
I
it.
mean, we haven't reviewed Easy Rider or Blue
Blue
Velvet
Velvet.
yet. comes through the Criterion Collection.
Yeah.
But Bruno Ganz
He
just died.
did. It's
about
the
a week or so
fucking
ago.
curse.
I know.
What?
Yeah,
We're cursed.
he died.
2 weeks ago, I think.
Yeah, just like I think a couple days before the Oscars, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, legendary actor. We saw him obviously in Downfall, where he played Hitler, like JC said.
Highest rated film.
And nope,
Yeah.
second.
For a minute.
Second after
The Act of Killing.
the act of
Yep.
killing.
But then also he's in Wings of Desire, a
Yep.
movie I love.
Yeah.
Also by Wim Wenders.
Which we reviewed for the podcast as well, right? Yeah.
Oh, really?
I
Same guy?
rewatched that famous scene in Downfall.
The one that's like
where he has the tantrum.
Yeah. So good.
It's very good.
It is.
And I never had seen this movie before, and I've always like wanted to. In fact, I even got this like on sale like a year ago and keep like wanting to watch this Wim Wenders, Patricia Highsmith, Ripley movie. And yeah, I was fascinated by it. But I guess where do we want to start with this? Has everyone seen a Ripley film before, or just?
I have not.
I don't think I have.
So Tom Ripley is a character by Patricia Highsmith, who you also know as the writer of the novel Strangers on a Train and the novel The Price of Salt, which was turned into the movie Carol. She's just this amazing noir writer from the 50s. Yeah, her kind of big claim to fame is the 4 books in her Ripley series, starting with The Talented Mr. Ripley.
Rings a bell.
Which is a popular film in 1999 starring Matt Damon as Ripley. There are a couple of other movies kind of all starring Ripley. In fact, this one is based off the novel Ripley's Game, the 3rd book, which was also made into a movie starring John Malkovich as Ripley, which I've not seen. I've not read this book. I've only read the 1st book. And there's another Ripley one. I think it's a French Ripley. Purple Noon? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think I read something about that.
Yeah. And so, I mean, it's this character who he is a bit of a sociopath, and Talented Mr. Ripley, he's really trying to like push himself into the life of an elite that he just kind of envies and just like wants to kill so he can like be part of the life that he thinks he deserves and wants. And in this one, he just like begins the film in the middle of an art heist. That's what he's already like working on. Not heist really, but like it's a large scam he's like in the middle of that I'm really entertained by before the whole like assassin plotline starts.
Wasn't that large? I thought it was just like his day-to-day art dealings.
Well, I mean, it's a scam.
Fake art.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
He has this artist who is like having to live in secret making these paintings.
In New York City.
What?
The artist lives in New York City. The guy who's painting all the stuff.
Was that New York?
With the eye patch? Oh, yeah.
How was that New York?
The really old guy?
Yeah.
When he's like, when did you leave Hamburg? And he's like, this morning? That was in New York.
Yeah,
He kept flying, basically.
I kept seeing the skyline. I didn't know which one it was.
He'd fly in the morning and fly out in the evening. And that
Is
just
that really the skyline?
drove him a little mad. Yeah, that was totally the Twin Towers,
Okay.
I feel like.
Cool.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I lost track of. I didn't know where I assumed he was in like Berlin or something like that.
I think that was supposed to be part of the sort of craziness of it, because yeah, I thought he was totally coming from like to and from different places in Europe, and then they show the guy's apartment, and then outside it's like, oh shit, that's New York. What?
And the movie is so like, I really like this movie.
I do too.
It has like these really cool directorial styles that is made to make you like question reality a little bit. These cool little editing touches, like a couple I noticed was like there's one point when the Bruno Ganz character is talking to one of the mafia guys who like wants to like tell him about this like new medicine that'll help him out more, yada yada, like get the test in Paris, and they're talking just in front of his front door, and they're both like side profile, and then they're talking, and then like the next cut they're at the exact same spot in the frame, but they're on the train, and it's just like this quick like eerie thing of like, oh, when did they move? And like another one was like Bruno Ganz is like on an elevator later in the film, and he like looks over in the elevator, and there's this Asian woman in the corner, and then like the next scene, like the door opens, and she's not there. Wasn't that she was hallucinating her? She's like she went off a different floor. The filmmaking is designed to make you confused and paranoid, as these characters are.
It worked.
It's so good because it's such a fun, twisty movie, and it's all about like who knows what. And at one point, I think maybe the dumbest part of the movie, Ripley just kind of screaming, "I'm confused."
I mean, he's slowly losing it. He's kind of descending into madness.
Yeah.
You said this is the third of the Ripley series?
And I know the first one. I've read the book and seen the movie. I think if I remember correctly, there's another movie I saw of it. And this was weird to see Dennis Hopper as Ripley. He's actually the part I don't like the most of the movie. I don't like Dennis Hopper in this movie because, like, Ripley to me, it is bringing too much into the film. That's not what the film's saying. But, like, Ripley to me is very much a, like, gentleman's criminal. Like, he is, like, someone who is, like, very, like, people envy him. People, like, get thrown off because they just enjoy being around him. And they kind of don't realize the sociopath because he's, like, wants to please and then, like, they, like, scams and murders you and such. I did not.
That's really interesting. I have never seen one before, and I really liked him in this movie because I was really. He radiates this menace that's like really intense, but very subtle. And like again, my only Dennis Hopper reference being Speed with Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves. There's not a lot of subtlety in that film, but he. Like, I was just, like, really drawn in by that, and I was, like, he was very chilling and this, like, but it wasn't overstated at all. Like, he would just say things, and I could, like, you could feel that he's just, like, really on that knife's edge of crazy. Like, really just, like, we don't know what's gonna happen next, and I thought that was really nice, but not knowing, like, how it works in the bigger portrait of who Ripley is. That's really interesting.
Like when he's leaving himself notes on his tape recorder.
Yeah, like, what the fuck?
I love that little transition where he was, like, talking into the tape recorder, and then when he walks out on the balcony, you hear the tape, but the scene is still happening with him talking. That was really cool. I was like, wait, what's going on? Oh, okay.
I was also curious why, like, I was thrown off by Dennis Hopper in the movie, who's not, like, bad. It's not how I like Ripley, and I kind of see, like, where the core story of, like, who Ripley is, because the character's also always been seen as, like, a major queer criminal, like, icon.
Yeah, sure.
Really?
I've never seen a Ripley movie.
Darren shipped them so hard, Bruno and
which is, like,
Ripley.
Which I assume in the novel has to be kind of part of it, because, like, Matt Damon plays it as that, and in the movie Purple Noon, it's the guy who's Last Samurai.
Yep.
He's Ripley in that movie.
Okay.
So it's kind of weird to see Dennis Hopper just not do that.
I thought
at
he
all.
did a little bit.
Do you?
I mean, Darren definitely noticed it, but like, I don't know. Hearing your description of Ripley, I couldn't really place that into this film. I also don't have that much previous experience with the character.
Yeah.
But, like, I can't, like, I feel like you couldn't have a guy that's that, like, buttoned up and suave and, like, sort of good at hiding his true inner self, but also have him sort of on edge and descend into madness at the same time.
Sure.
So, I don't know if that's how the film did it, or if that's really what's happening with the character in the book, or what was supposed to be going on. But I still enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, I think it's definitely like Wim Wenders' take, because it's not like this movie is like, this is part 3 of a series. Like, this is a movie.
Sure.
It is Tom Ripley if you know the character, but it's not saying you need to have read 2 books for this or seen a French film before this.
Yeah, the other thing that was really interesting to me watching this is having watched Carol and having read The Price of Salt, the characters felt very, like, familiar to me in that way, where I think, obviously, like, I don't think she wrote the script or anything like that, but, like, her characters always have this just, like, you really only feel like you're just seeing the tip of the iceberg with her characters, and there's, like, this whole, like, complex inner life with just all the shit that's being tangled around, and it really just, like, leaves you hanging, like, right by the edge of your seat just for, like, just a little bit more, but, like, in the best way. Like, one of my favorite scenes was when the picture framer is, like, playing with the gold leaf in his study, and he lets it, like, rest on his hand, and he just looks at it. I was like, there's just everything just felt like it was giving me a lot, but, like, nothing at all at the same time, and I was into it. Boom.
I will explain at the end that I'm not going to henge this movie because I was, for various reasons, very distracted when I was watching it and just, like, didn't take a lot of the plot in, but I did very much pay attention to that gold foil scene.
Right.
It's very shiny.
it's shiny.
Yeah.
I think it's just like a completely beautifully filmed thing.
Mm-hmm.
The only other thing I'll say about the movie is, all the hanging frames in the shop, very pretty, nice framing device.
Yeah.
You're
You're right.
Yeah.
I'm done now.
I
Do you
booed her
think
during the
that
movie.
Vince Gilligan watched this movie when he was making Breaking Bad? I kept thinking about Breaking
Yeah,
Bad when I was watching
when
it.
the film
100%.
ended, because I guess slight spoilers.
Let's avoid
Slight spoilers.
enough.
The film ended, and that last like minute or two, I was like, I think this is Breaking Bad. This is
Literally.
definitely Breaking Bad.
Well, I mean, Vince Gilligan has said like he is a fan of crime novels from this era, and there's like no world which he hasn't read Patricia Highsmith, I believe.
This guy has cancer and kills people,
But
and has fun doing it, not even for the money.
Yeah.
well, and that's like it was funny because like I definitely got a lot of Breaking Bad vibes from this character. But what was so entertaining to me was like as you're watching now this conspiracy like happen around, and so much is so subtle because you kind of don't know exactly who is lying. Like almost everyone is lying. You don't know who all knows who else is lying, and this is kind of great element of like, oh yeah, we want to take you to Paris to do our doctor, give you our tests. And I'm watching going, there's no fucking way that's real. And you would think like, does this character know that's real? And like, I think he's just like desperate. Like JC's kind of about these layers of like, he knows probably not real, but he just like needs to like have something to like validate what he's doing.
Is he gonna do the job? Is he not? I don't know, but maybe he's just curious enough to go to Paris, see what he feels.
Yeah,
lies to himself a little bit, and then keeps going.
He is such a great bad assassin. I love that moment where he's sitting on the train, or he's outside the train, and he's like sitting with his coat. They told him like have the gun up this like so it's still hidden under your coat. He said the gun's out.
Yep.
I was like, dude, put it back in your pants.
Yep. No, exactly what I thought.
Man.
That part, and when he, like, I was watching it, and I was like, this is how I would assassinate someone. I would fall asleep while I was tracking them. And then, like, definitely, like, trip over something and hit my head.
Yeah.
Not do anything that you were told.
Yep.
Oh,
I had to, like, that part where he hits his head. I thought that I had missed something because suddenly he was walking around with like a bunch of blood on his face, and I was like, I missed the assassination, and I had to like rewind it, and I watched it again, and I was like, oh no, he just tripped. He just tripped and hurt himself.
Yep. Also, did he lose his handkerchief after? Like, did he leave it at the crime scene with all of his blood?
No, well, he threw it away. Like it wasn't like at the crime scene. It wasn't like on the body, but like, yeah. He's so happy when someone puts a Band-Aid on his head. He's like, thanks. I've been using my like.
Which is
so
that like
grateful.
what old school Band-Aids were like? It's just a big roll of Band-Aid that you just cut off a little piece of, and
I don't know. 70s were crazy, man.
yeah.
Hi, Fridge.
It's Goose. Goose is
Hi, Goose.
funny. It's okay.
Goose has a lot to
Can you-
say. Does Goose have opinions about the movie?
Goose. Yes.
Yeah, such a
Good
I
movie.
wish that the wife had more to do.
Yeah,
But I
she
also
was, like-
thought it did a good job of not demonizing her.
oh great.
No, for sure.
She's a normal person reacting like a normal person.
She's the Skylar White of like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. What are you doing here? And who's the guy in the cowboy hat?
You
With
know,
your
one-piece
American
jumpsuit.
friend.
Yes.
Slap.
No, she was. I kind of wish there was more of her too, because like every time she showed up or was in a scene, it was just she nailed it. It was impressive.
Yeah.
I think for a 2-hour, almost 10-minute film, it was like well done, well paced. It was like there was nothing that was like too fast or hasty, except for at the end there when everything went
Yeah.
nuts. But it's supposed to be that way, you know.
Well, it's such a great, because you have like so much calculation going on, but so much of the calculation from every like party is like, if we do this, this will probably work.
Mm-hmm.
Of like, hey, we're gonna use this guy because if he gets caught, who gives a shit? Like, it's kind of the whole plan's around like this guy's expendable. I mean, we could kill them, but then like, we'll be the ones who kill them. And so I just like love near the end when Ripley is being more like proactive about the plot. It's like, okay, so you're gonna be here, and we're gonna do this. why he's coming. I don't know. The mafia, those guys, someone's definitely going to be coming. So it's like the idea, like, someone is mad at us.
In this weird mock-up of the White House that he lives in.
Oh, it's so good. Love this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just want to read more of the Ripley books.
100%. I was like, oh yes, my girl Patricia.
Oh yeah. I also now want to see the remake of Source with John Malkovich as Ripley.
Oh, that's someone who just radiates menace and doesn't even have to try.
Oh yeah.
Whenever I look at John Malkovich, I'm like, can you look somewhere else? Can you not be on my TV? Thanks.
Yeah.
It made me feel a little bad about myself because, you know, they're in Europe, and since Europe realizes that they're not the center of everything, most of the time, actually, that's not true.
That's not true. It's the opposite.
It's the fact that they all speak at least a little bit of their neighbor languages.
Yeah.
Just so they can sort of communicate, and they would actually, like, transition.
This is true.
Between the two, I was like, I wish I could, you know, get by in German and French and all these things, but you guys are just better at it.
My mother can do that, and it is pretty impressive. My mother, like, has at various times spoken 8 languages, and so, like, she can sort of just exist in Europe and wherever she is, like, just be like, and now I'm going to learn just enough Portuguese to get through Portugal. Because I already know Spanish and Italian and French. I'm like, sure, we'll do that now. It's absurd.
Hinges.
JC, how many hinges do you give it?
I think I give it a 4.7. I really liked it.
Nice. I give it a 4.4. Dennis Hopper let me down.
You have that insider knowledge.
It's true. Which is, not it's what I'm putting on the film without the film saying. It's a bit unfair, I feel. But, yeah.
I don't know. This is tough. I'm on the spot because I was going to give it a 4.5, but then JC gave it a 4.7.
Be true to yourself.
But I really like it, so now I don't know if I'm being true to myself unless I give it at least a 4.7.
But you have different. But you're not JC, and JC is not you.
I know.
You just gotta you gotta live
Thank
in your
God,
own space,
honestly.
man.
So I think I'm gonna go with a 4.65.
Perfect.
Nice.
Yeah.
That is The American Friend, read by Wim Wenders. Check that out. Now it's time for the album segment.
The album that we listened to this week is Green by R.E.M.
Stand in the place where you live. Now face think about direction, wonder why you haven't now. Stand in the place where you were. Now face think about the place where you live, wonder why you haven't. People, if you are confused, check with the sun. Carry a compass.
Green is the 6th studio album by the rock band R.E.M. It came out in 1988. It is, so I'll just say at the beginning, I'm a huge fan of R.E.M. R.E.M. is one of my favorite bands of all time, probably. So they're well into their career at this point. This album, has a number of, it has 4 singles on it. Only one of which I like, but I'll get to that.
Ooh.
So there's 4 singles on the album, which are Orange Crush, Stand, Pop Song 89, and Get Up. This is an album that is the 6th studio album of
Wait, I'm going to try to guess. You like one of those 4?
Yeah.
Stand?
Yeah, because Stand's the perfect song.
Called it.
Yeah.
Wow, you two really know and love each other.
Aww. Yeah.
Sorry, the sarcasm meters were way too high.
Almost
I need to adjust the levels. Yeah. Watch it.
Oh, wait, here we go.
Yeah.
Aww.
Now it sounds way better. It's much cleaner.
Much cleaner.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. It was just sort of like a French horn sound that came out of me. Anyway.
So I love R.E.M. I consider Green to be one of their less impressive albums. I gotta look which other ones are on there. I assume that Automatic for the People, which is their most famous album, is on... Well, probably Automatic for the People is their most famous album. Is on the list. Otherwise, they've just got some... Otherwise, whoever made this list is just some, asshole, snob who's like, no, Green is the best R.E.M. album, which I don't think a lot of people think. But I think it's good. Did other people listen to it?
I did.
Yes.
What'd you think?
This is the first time I kind of feel like I really got R.E.M.
R.E.M.'s great.
Because I've heard a little bit, usually not knowing it's R.E.M., but because of the bizarre Scott Aukerman, Adam Scott podcast, Are You Talking R.E.M. Regarding Me?
Which is a spinoff of...
Are You Talking U2 to Me?
Right.
But unlike U2, like I had heard almost all of U2, so I could just like listen to that silly podcast every week. I've barely heard this sequel podcast because I actually like have heard an R.E.M. album. Mm-hmm. So I listened to like, the first 2 albums of theirs and thought it was fine. Didn't really get a lot of it. Haven't listened to it in months, which I haven't listened to this podcast in months. But listening to Green, I go, oh yeah, I get it. They have a very specific sound. Mm-hmm. It's very like well done. I enjoyed all of it.
Yeah, I'd say this is like Green is so R.E.M. has what, like maybe 16 or 17 albums. Like Green Document is 2 years before this, which is I think the first great R.E.M. album, and then you're just on a string for like 7 years of amazing albums. Green's the second in the chain of like very good R.E.M. albums. They only get better, so I highly recommend Automatic People, Monster, and New Adventures in Hi-Fi.
Well, I will hear them all because I want to listen to these guys talk about the album for a 2-hour episode.
Well, yeah.
So it's
sort of like we do.
It is kind of like what we do. Oh no. But yeah, no, I thought it was really great. In fact, like, it's funny you mentioned those the singles. I was listening to it and I kept getting wrong what I thought the singles were.
That's funny.
As was going on. I didn't like Orange Crush as much.
It's fine. Yeah.
I like that song probably more than the others. Dun dun dun, controversy.
Controversy.
Oh, I like that a lot.
I try, JC. I do for you.
JC, what it? Looking up the track list. What? I really the one that I liked the most, like listening to it the first time, was "You Are the Everything," which
I really like. "You Are the Everything"
because I thought like Pop Song and Get Up were good, but "You're the Everything," like okay, now I really kind of get why people like R.E.M.
Yeah, I think so. This has been my general feeling about R.E.M. and why I love them is because they have this incredibly high level of good song consistency. And like this is true for all of their albums. There will be like a bunch of singles that I'm like, I totally understand why these were on the radio. Some of them are like my cup of tea, some of them are not. But then also there's like usually another song on the album that I'm like, this is great. That was the one on this one. Like their lyric game is amazing. Stand is the best. They are like experimental in a way that really works for me. They sing about things other than their girlfriends, which is probably the most important feature in a rock band for me, and I love them. Yeah.
Well, like, so a couple of these songs are about war, but I feel like it went over my head a little bit.
That you have to like actually like read R.E.M. like not like to
no.
R.E.M. lyrics are dense, like they are, and
because they don't sound dense
when
you listen to it, which is what threw me off.
But they are not. I mean, yeah, like my favorite R.E.M. song, which is not on this album, is literally like a song narrated from the perspective of a little person who has been brought on Jerry Springer to explain what his life is like, and then is getting laughed at. Like that is like. They wrote a song about that. It's called New Test Leopard. It's fucking amazing.
I think that's a part in Buster Scruggs.
Yeah, like I mean, it's they've got a lot going on. I think that Green has less going on than some of their other albums, which is why it's not my favorite R.E.M. album. But I fucking love this album. I fucking love everything R.E.M. does. I think it's perfect.
Can I tell you my one cool R.E.M. story?
No.
Yes.
Outvoted. Go ahead.
I really like Patti Smith, who like Michael Stipe often talks about as like being like one of his like big influences. And I went to a talk that Patti Smith gave. She came to Boston, and she gave the talk, and then she sang some songs. I remember she sang "Perfect Day" by Lou Reed because Lou Reed had just died. And then she was like, it was Michael Stipe's birthday, so she called him on stage and held up the phone, and we sang "Happy Birthday" to Michael Stipe. That's my story.
That's a good story. The trivia I learned
Save
about
my vote.
The trivia I learned about R.E.M. today I always wondered what their band name was about and whether it stood for something other than R.E.M. Sleep, Rapid Eye Movement. It doesn't. It just is about that.
So it is Rapid Eye Movement.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, they claim they like picked it at random out of a dictionary. That sounds like definitely not something that happened, but they did. They did. They have in interviews revealed 3 other possible names, which included Twisted Kites, which whatever, Can of Piss, and Negro Eyes. So I think like, you know, this is one of the few times in life that I'm just like, I can like look and be like, that's a microaggression that didn't happen. One of the greatest rock bands of the late 90s, of the late 80s and early 90s was not called Negro Eyes.
I just imagined
and that's better than if it was.
I just instantly imagined the name, was it Can of Piss?
Can of Piss.
But it's
also terrible.
But it's as Ring of Keys from Fun Home.
Well, now that's in my head forever.
I mean, maybe they were like, all right, no, all these names suck. Let's just open a dictionary.
I mean, maybe. Then if they did, they found a really good one, and it's good they didn't pick, like, I don't know, refractory. Like, you know,
Yeah.
There's a lot of words in a dictionary.
We were trying to think of band names and looked into the dictionary, and my friend Trevor picked out the best name. Goes, guys, what about the lyrics? It's like, oh yeah, that sounds cool. He asked what it meant. He's like, lyrics to, or words to a song or poem. We're like, that's lyrics, you dumbass.
You know what? That's a great story. I met Trevor, and that makes me very happy.
This is the answer I don't want to know, but
Lyrics. I kind of wish it stuck with
how
it.
old were you guys?
I don't know, 14 maybe?
It's too old.
Okay. Too fucking old not to know how to pronounce
14,
the word
15,
lyric.
maybe 16.
Lyrics.
14 was like the low end of the...
Now I want to start a band called Lyrics, and just every time someone asks, be like, no, it's Lyrics.
Well, it's like
Lyrics,
that great part in the movie That Thing You Do, where they kept wanting to go by the O-Neaters. The O.
Oh, yes.
The Wonders. And they go, no, we're just calling you the Wonders. No one gets what you are.
Tom Hanks busts and is like, this is fucking dumb.
Director of that film.
Oh, gosh.
Wait, Tom Hanks directed that film?
He did.
Shut up, really?
Yeah.
Is that on the list? That's a
No.
cool
I don't even know what you're talking about.
You haven't seen That Thing You Do?
No.
It's
Shut
like,
up, Pedro. What
Sorry.
the fuck?
it's like a Beatles adjacent kind of film of like a band that gets a bit of a one-hit wonder and rise popularity, but lose their friends along the way. The song That Thing You
Steve
Do
Song's
is
best
that
performance.
good. Like that song, because that's to be a song that catchy that becomes superstars, and that
Yeah.
song is that good.
Oh, okay.
And so the movie
You-
works.
Doing that thing you do. That's not a good rendition.
I'm glad we're doing so much singing.
So there are 3 other R.E.M. albums on this list. I'm looking
yeah.
at.
Wow,
Okay.
that's a good amount.
I know.
Yeah,
Thoughts
because R.E.M. is great.
so they are Murmur.
That's their first album. I know what they put their first album on it, but I don't think Murmur's very good.
That's one I've heard. I thought it was not very good. Document,
Yeah,
and then your Automatic for the People.
Automatic for People, so good.
Out of how many albums have they
like
made?
16, maybe?
Good lord.
I mean, like,
Well, I guess it's...
yeah, they
Do they reuse some of their songs like for different albums? Every
no,
album
they-
is like a whole
I
fresh
mean,
set?
they released their last album in 2011, so you know
Okay.
they were just around for a while. My first slow dance was to an R.E.M. song.
Aww.
Which
Oh
I
my
love
God.
very much, which is Night Swimming from Automatic for the People, which is a great song. Makes me have a lot of feelings.
We got 3 of their songs from the song list. We have The One I Love,
It's a fine song. I don't know. But keep going.
Losing My Religion,
Which is a perfect song.
and one that I've heard, Radio Free Europe.
Another very good song. R.E.M. also did "End of the World as We Know It," the ultimate,
What?
the ultimate nerd song. Yeah.
Not on the list.
That's
The like
weird.
pop-up video behind the music VH1 thing for that song is incredible. Where they're like, yeah, we just wanted like for the music video, like they're like, yeah, we just wanted like this little boy to be the only person that existed at the end of the world, and he's just like wandering around through the rubble, and you're like,
Such
oh,
a
okay,
good-
cool.
I love them. I think they're great.
You know what that note is? I really like the comic book Why the Last Man, but too many women. So they get all the women.
Does anyone besides
Austin,
me?
shut the fuck up.
Correct. Very correct. Does anyone besides me know all the words to "End of the World"? Is that like, or is that?
I think
just
I
me?
do.
I don't know them
That's
all.
great. It starts with an
An
earthquake,
earthquake,
birds,
yeah.
and airplanes. Lenny Bruce is not afraid.
Is
I
that
have
the-
hurricane? Yeah.
Is that the thing that Michael Shannon did the lip sync for?
Yes, it is, and it's great. The lip sync battle with Michael Shannon doing End of the World was like the best thing I've ever seen.
Last night, my roommates and I were rewatching Michael Shannon's rendition of the Delta Gamma sorority letter. Do you
Hell
remember
yeah.
that?
Which
I
is
love
wonderful. Yes.
Michael
A
Shannon.
gift.
Michael Shannon is a gift.
He's the greatest. One of the best actors alive. We saw him perform in a play. That was insane.
There's a lot of incest, and we watched it with Austin's mom.
Yep. But if you need like proper crazy Michael Shannon, because like he always like does like crazy like in like Superman, he's the crazy Zod, or like Premium Blend, he really wants to beat up the guy on the bicycle. But if you want the craziest Michael Shannon ever, there is a Christmas movie called Pottersville.
Oh my god, that movie's crazy.
That there is no crazier Christmas movie in time than Michael Shannon as a like convenience store owner who finds out his wife Christina Hendricks is secretly a furry and is having sex with Ron Perlman in like animal outfits, and then he gets drunk, dresses up as a gorilla to show his wife that he is a man. The town thinks he's Bigfoot, and the town becomes famous because it has Bigfoot sightings. Also stars Ian McShane, Judy Greer, and Tom Reno 911 guy.
Michael Shannon is also in one of my favorite movies, which is Take Shelter. Which is
Take Shelter is a perfect film.
It's literally fucking perfect. Is it on the list?
No.
Why? Who wrote these, and why did they fucking ask me about it?
That'd be a great bonus review. And the next like 40 it's your turn again.
I'll be dead by then. Whoa. Sorry. Anyway,
R.E.M.
I think R.E.M. I like R.E.M. a lot. I'm not on a Sarah level. I don't think I've reached the point where I got them yet. Where like I like individual songs by them a lot. I really liked Orange Crush. I really like Austin. What was the song you talked about earlier?
Stan?
The Everything.
No,
the other one.
You Are the Everything.
You Are the
Everything.
Which is the one I
Like that song. Like Stand a lot. I do feel like R.E.M. just in my personal taste is always like I want them to rock just a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Like they lean into the milk toast a little bit, and I just want them to rock a little bit harder. And I think that says a lot more just about like my taste in music as opposed to like the quality of theirs. It was a really good album. It's rare that I feel like I listen to a whole album and I'm like, damn.
Yeah. Good job, R.E.M.
Yeah, good work.
That I know.
Be true to yourself.
That I know all of R.E.M.'s
Be true to Pedro.
discography. I gotta like put it within R.E.M.'s discography. So I'm gonna give it a 4.5. Probably the lowest R.E.M. album is a 4. So that's where we're at.
4.3. I liked it. Good stuff.
I'll give it a 4.
Nice. So that was Green by R.E.M. Now it's time for the song.
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
Yes.
I feel like Pedro's ate a steak, threw up, and ready to come back. All right, what the fuck do we listen to?
Yeah, we listened to "I Feel for You" by Chaka Khan. "I Feel for You" is a song by Prince, released in his self-titled album Prince in 1979.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. The biggest selling, most popular version of the song ever is the one by Chaka Khan.
Which is what we're reviewing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Came out in 1984, and it is Chaka Khan. You might know her by her real name, Yvette Marie Stevens, or her given name, not stage name.
No, I know about Chaka Khan.
Really?
Yeah.
I honestly hadn't heard of Chaka Khan, but I had heard of Yvette Marie Stevens.
Why?
I don't know. So, song, very great. She collaborated with everybody on this, including, well, we got Stevie Wonder playing the harmonica, which is just wonderful, because that's one of my favorite parts of the song. It is quite the jam piece that is, at the same time, rap, hip-hop, or, let's see, what do we got? Synth, funk, R&B. There's a lot in this song. I'm not gonna lie, but it is wonderful. It is so much fun. Love it.
I mean, you're completely right. Like, it's so much going on, but it never feels busy, I guess, to me. Like, it almost like blends together in this, like, very, this is the song.
Well, Sarah kind of nailed it on the head when she said it's the 80s incarnate. That's just,
it's
that's
just
what
it's
it
like,
is.
Oh, did you know the song was from the 80s? It's the 80s song. It's a song from the 80s. Look at the 80s being the 80s.
Yeah, the music videos doesn't hide the fact.
August.
I mean, how could it? They were at the most present time for themselves. They didn't have like a reference where they were like, "Let's make this super 80s."
They knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
That's all I got.
that was really good.
Really.
That was catchy. That really well sung.
Indeed.
Super cool. What do y'all think?
I really have very little to say about this song, except basically what you said. Like, hey, cool. It was well sung. It's a cool song. It's got a good beat. 80s, 80s, 80s. Did you know it's from the 80s?
A lot of keyboard synthesizer. Wow. Okay, so like 4 out of the 8 people that are like headlined on this are keyboard synthesizer programming, which is quite nuts.
She gets jobs. Job creator.
Yeah.
Job creator.
Is a job
Yeah,
You know
Chaka
what?
Khan.
Job creator.
Chaka Khan, job
Oh,
creator.
we have a little
Chaka
section
Khan,
about the
job
music.
creator.
So the tempo is 125 BPM.
Oh my god, this is very, very
Just-
specific.
Nice and quick. G
Nice
flat
and
major
quick.
is the key. And then this I actually don't know, so I want to pose it to the singers. Apparently, Khan's vocal span ranges from D flat 4 to A flat 5. What does that mean?
It's big. Let me
Yeah, it's a
see.
big
I gotta
range.
remember what D flat 4 is. Like, where, like, just give me a sec and I will.
Like, I see a 4 and a 5, and I think that's just like
No.
2 octaves, but it's got to be bigger than that, right?
Let me see. That's not like how I know how to count range. So just a sec. But
Yeah, I don't either. I'd have to like look at it on like a bar.
a bar. That's what I'm trying to
Yeah.
do. But yeah. Although I'm interested in it now, maybe I'll get back to you next week because I was just
Yeah.
reading about Freddie Mercury's vocal range, which is known to be like one of the largest
Mhm.
vocal ranges of any like performer in
Yep.
music. So.
Mariah Carey's up there, right?
Yeah, but Freddie Mercury's like weird. Like Freddie Mercury
Yeah.
like had too many teeth in his mouth and like his larynx is in the wrong place weird. Like he's a freak of nature.
Well, the weirdest thing was he made a song that was 6 minutes long.
6
No one
full
wants
minutes.
to listen to that.
Oh my god, is that a plot point of
Yes.
Bohemian Rhapsody?
It's like half the movie.
Great.
I'm strongly exaggerating.
Okay. I thought it was supposed to
It's
be half
time
a
to let the
movie.
old ways die.
But anyway, no, great fun song. Give it a listen whenever you want to, actually. All
I'm
occasions.
gay, so I'm obligated to like this song because it's Chaka Khan.
Yeah, I wasn't going to
It's
give
in
you
our
a low
bylaws.
container. You have to start off at 4.
At the gay secret meetings, this is
We talk about Chaka Khan. It's like she's like a Madonna. Like Chaka
Yeah.
Khan's important. I really like this song. I don't really have a lot to say either. Like I thought it was groovy.
I will give the song 4.3 henches.
3.8.
3.8.
4. When did I become Pedro?
I don't
say
know.
that-
I like it. I like having a friend.
You say it like every week now.
So sad, Pedro.
Well, before
Pedro,
I
I'm
had
your
Adam,
friend
which
whether
was
or
my
not we vote
anti-friend,
similarly.
JC, by the way, you said that like every week now.
I said that last week too, I know.
Yeah.
My heart's become gentler.
Aw.
Well, I Feel For You by Chaka Khan was the song this week. Now it's time for the TV show segment, which is, of course, Footballers' Wives.
Of course.
Of course.
Footballers' Wives, as I don't need to tell anybody, was a 5-season show that aired on ITV from 2002 to 2006. It's about a fictional football league and their wives. Yep. So this show is a lot of nothing in a way, because it's supposed to be like, oh, here we go. Here's like the sexy and scandalous lives of like the rich athletes and their rich wives. But it's not that. It's not scandalous. It's not campy. It's definitely not funny. There are no jokes in it. It's not sexy. It's not exciting. It's really, really boring in a way that like isn't of the genre's fault, because typically when you have a soap opera like story, you have excitement and things going on. But this show, especially in season 1, is so dull and a non-entity for every episode that it is truly hard like to finish an episode because there's nothing clicking. Nothing matters about the actual like football league. Nothing matters about any of the wives. Like once
Nothing really matters. Sorry.
Because it's like things you go, oh, these like some good like melodrama tropes. Like, oh, this fight has a guy in a coma. Is he gonna like wake up and have secrets? But that's so boring. And like this one, it's a fairy tale wedding, and that's like it's so remarkably boring. The only thing that strikes any sort of note is it's only a negative thing against it, where you have one of the wives who had to give up their kid when she was a teenager, now deciding that she wants to have this kid back. So she's like publicly screaming with this woman who's like raised this 10-year-old for 10 years that she deserves this kid back, which is insane
and awkward.
And the show is seen as a sympathetic thing of her wanting to be a good mother, and it's a complete and utter mess. So at least registers because it is like objectively bad. Whereas everything else is so boring and not anything that it is barely a show. But it ran for 5 years, and no one seems to really remember it. And the show, I didn't like it.
Cool. Sometimes things are bad.
Sometimes things are bad. I mean, the whole show's on YouTube. And no one seems to care, really. The kind of thing about it. It's like, I was like looking, where can I stream this show? And they go, it's on YouTube. The fans put it there, and everyone's just fine with that. Like, it's not even like a shrink down version, like the volume's off. No, it's just there, and they're all, that's fine.
Yeah, whatever. We're not making money on this anyway.
That's where we can host Footballers' Wives. Which gets, I don't know, one hinge.
Yeah.
Not anything worth talking about.
Hell yeah.
I almost watched the whole first season, but the news was insane. I had to watch that instead.
Yeah.
And this was very boring.
Also that.
But that's it. That's episode 148.
Cool. Look what we did.
Man, ended on a good note there with everyone's
great.
energy
Really,
open
really interesting and...
Footballers' Wives.
Again, when only 1 out of every 4 shows is like even sort of good, it's hard to end on the good note.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Why did we put the show at the end?
It's kind of a bookend of like, there's like the longer fiction. Sometimes people watch the show, some people don't. Music kind of group together.
I mean, we're not going to change it. But
Change is bad. No one likes change.
I hate change.
Well, next time we have all new things to talk about.
Aw, man.
Episode 149, we're going to be discussing the 277th entries in all these lists, and what are we going to check out?
Father Panchali?
Yep. Close.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which I am very excited about. The album is Paris 1919 by John Cale.
The song is Sister Morphine by Marianne Faithfull.
And the TV show is The Sandbaggers, which I hear is quite good. So this could be a bit of hope. But we are not going to be back next week with that episode. In fact, we're going to have a slight week off. Next week, we're going to have a bonus review. Bonus. We're going to have a mini episode where we're going to catch up with Pedro's thoughts on Point Blank, movie from last week, and JC's thoughts on The Adventures of Robin Hood from many weeks ago.
And I have a song.
And we have a song that we didn't discuss last week because Pedro was away.
Yeah.
So, check back next week for that, hopefully, short episode that will come out.
We'll find out.
And then the week after will be episode 149 proper. Until then, go over to theartmore.com, leave us a comment about what you think of any of these things we discussed. Check out other podcasts like Let's Take 5 Ad Absurdum. Shows that are very good on the network. I can't remember what is coming out this week, so just go over there and look at all those cool shows that are there. Leave us a review on iTunes. Follow us on Twitter at The Immortals Pod. Special thanks to Adam Lord for all the music he does. I don't know. You guys want to plug anything?
Nope.
Nah.
JC already fell asleep.
Yep.
No, I didn't.
I want to plug the pizza I smelled for my dinner.
Anyway, thanks everyone for listening. Y'all are great. We'll see you soon. My name is Austin.
I'm Sarah.
I'm JC.
And I'm Pedro.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
See you later.
That's what I was going to say.
Alligator. We're going to cut out the part where I'm looking for the track list. La 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 la.
No,
We're
we're
gonna
not.
cut
It's
out
still in the
the
show,
track
and
list.
we're all listening
Why are we
to
doing
it
this?
on
Why,
iTunes.
Why? This is the worst. This is the worst.
Subscribe and rate. Subscribe and rate.